Hey, how's everyone doing? This is Awesome Awesome Mechanics, and on today's video, we got this 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee right behind me. So the issue with this Jeep Grand Cherokee right here, customer complaint is, first and foremost, what they noticed is that the power steering was actually going really hard at times, and then after that, they noticed that the instrument cluster will start lining up, and all this other array of stuff was going on. So they took it to the dealership, and from then, they just put a laundry list of parts that they wanted to change out. So after that, they brought it over here to me. So how about in today's video, we try to figure out this vehicle and give it back to the customer. All right, so we're inside the vehicle right now. And one thing that I've been noticing, this cluster right now with the engine off, kind of blinking on and off, it'll kind of reset after a while. So while I'm talking, you'll be noticing that right here. And let me just talk a little bit about this vehicle right here. So another thing that we've been noticing is if we turn it on right off the bat, there's times that the power steering starts working and then they'll mess up, and then there's times that it won't work and then stay like that the whole time. And as well, once we turn on the cluster, we will notice that the cluster starts to dim. First and foremost, what we want to do is we're going to look at our scan data and see what we have. So let's go ahead and go to run. I want to do an auto scan on my scan tool. So on the PCM side, we have lost communication with BCM, TCM, all of this fuel level message, ambient temperature message, just a bunch of array of codes right here. So I can understand why the dealership wanted to change out everything right here. But as we can see bus, electric gear shift module, everything's going crazy on this. Look at all these codes. ABS module. I see a lot on the ABS module side. I want to check this out right here, but I want to click on this right here. Let's go into ABS module. As you can see, we can still talk to it right now, but it starts to flicker right here. This is nuts. So it's like going in and out of communication. Let's try to turn this on and let's see if we can actually see if the steering is working. All right. And you see we have steering right now. I can move it with one finger. And then after that, it just kind of goes bad. Let's see if we just cycle the key. Right now, we're just pushing the push button start. And what I'm trying to see is if it acts up again. Okay, there you go. So service power steering, service shifter. That's one thing that acts up as well. So look at everything. It just starts to flicker, starts to go kind of crazy. Look at all that good stuff right there. I want to look at this CAN communication right here. So we have all these. Let me see. We have, look, electric power steering. It was grayed out right there. It's not communicating right now. So if we turn this vehicle on, is our steering going to be messed up? Oh, there you go. Look at that. I'm trying to push it down and nothing. All right, cool. And the crazy thing is when I was driving it in, I'm telling you, the cluster was just going crazy, was going nuts, it would not allow anything. But can this just be an easy video right here? Is this just going to be the electric power steering that we have an issue with? Y'all kind of saw it in the beginning. It was flickering on and off, flickering on and off. Could it be that this CAN communication was affecting the other stuff? Because we saw all those codes right there with TCMs and all that issue. So let's go to the wiring diagram. Let's see what we figure out, and hopefully we can get this vehicle all assessed. All right, so we're on Metro Pro Demand, and as you can see, we're on computer data lines right here. So remember when we looked at the codes, we noticed that we had a CAN-C code, we had a PCM code, we had a TCM code, we had an ABS code, and so on. So as you can see, there's different communication that we have right here. And this is a prime example right here. This body control module has a CAN IHS, has a LIN bus, and then it has a CAN C. But remember our code, it was really directing on the CAN C. So as you can see, we have a CAN C right here. There's our PCM. We have our ABS, TCM, transmission control module, body control module, and as well our power steering motor right here. So as you can see, they're all on CAN C. So remember, like I showed you, there was a CAN C code and all these right here, but they're all in the same communication data line. So we can suspect something going on. But like I was explaining, the customer was complaining that most of the times the main thing that acts up is going to be the power steering control module. So let's go to this power steering. All right, so here's our power steering, and this one, as you can see, this is a closed box right here, so we only have 5 actual wires coming out from here. So we have our power that's coming from 100 amp fuse, we have our main ground, and then we have 2 CAN C lines right here, and then we have another one which is going to be our ignition. So what I want to do now, I want to go to this power steering pump motor, and then we're going to start checking this out. We want to verify that we have good powers and grounds, and as well we can actually go into this CAN C right there from our suspected problem and see how it looks like. So let's go back to the vehicle and see what we find out. All right, so now that we know the system and how it works, remember when we're looking at it, so we have 2 different sides. We have the interior high-speed CAN, and then we have our regular high-speed CAN. And as we can see from all the codes that we had, we're basically only looking at the high-speed CAN, the regular one, because we saw lost communication from the ECM, TCM, electronic power steering, ABS, all that stuff right there. So I'm going to be directing all my energy to that right there. So what we're going to do first, because we know which of the modules was acting up the most, remember we saw right there in our scan tool that the electronic power steering was not communicating at all, we're going to focus right there. So that electronic power steering, it has 2 big wires, that's going to be the powers and grounds, and then we have another connector that has 3 wires right there. So we're going to have, I believe is a blue and white wire, a yellow, and those are going to be the CAN communications, and then right in the middle, I believe that's going to be our fused ignition right there. So we got to verify all of those. My main concern is probably going to be just the CAN communication, because guess what? It was throwing a CAN code right there. So that's what might be bringing down the system right there. So we're going to go ahead, hook up our scope to it, and then we're going to start looking at the CAN communication. I just want to see if we see any something just that doesn't look right. But to do this, remember, we have to put our key on the on position and verify what's going on. So let's go hook these test leads up and let's see what we find out. All right, so we have our test leads right here. So we're going to have 2 powers for CAN high, CAN low, and we're going to have our ground. And for our ground right here, what we're going to use, this is going to be our little post right here, and this is when you're going to jump a vehicle. So that goes pretty much, straight to the battery. And then right here we have our lines for CAN high and CAN low. Now to do those, I gotta bring you down here so you can check that out. So we have our powers and grounds. Those are gonna be the 2 big old wires. And then if we zoom in down here, that's where we're gonna have our blue and white and our yellow. So these 2 right here, these are gonna be our CAN, and this is gonna be our fused or ignition power right there. All right. And our other one right here. There you go. All right, now let's go to our pico scope and let's see what we find out right here. So let's go ahead and check this out, make sure everything is connected right. All right, so we're just gonna put the key inside. All right, now let's see if we see anything just weird, anything that's off. And like I said, sometimes it would act up after, a couple of seconds or, something going on. So just want to see what's going on right here. And this is all data packets. So essentially what was going on CAN communication. Oh, let's see. I saw that. I'm pretty sure people saw that too. Check that out. There you go. This is what I was waiting for. Right there. Look at that. Clear as day. This is where our issue's at. Let's see if it keeps on doing it. This is our problem, and I can hear the inside is just going kind of crazy. I don't know if you can see it. There's going to be some other stuff going on right here. The inside is going crazy right now. I can hear it just kind of dinging here and there. All right, Cool. Now what I want to do right here, so I just want to disconnect that electric power steering right here. So let's just check what happens right here. As you can see, there's still a bit of, noise right there and some stuff going on. We're going to disconnect this, and look at that. Look how nice and clean it is now. You can see if we stop, look at that. Nice clean packets. We're going to connect this back in there. See if it acts up again. Oh, this is awesome. All right, but honest to God, I feel like now we can start condemning this as being the module that's bringing stuff down. And sometimes what I noticed too is when you would turn it off and on, that's when it would kind of fix itself. And another test I'm going to do is check out our powers and grounds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a load test on that. This is a tool that Jarhead Diagnostics has made. So I'm going to see if I can put a link down below. And this is pretty awesome right here. So I'm going to back probe right there. And this is going to go powers and grounds. And now that we saw the communication line acting up, now let's verify that we have good powers and grounds. Man, this is becoming a pretty sweet little test right here. Ow! All right, so this is actually a pretty nice little tool. So to protect the little bulb inside, he has this little casing, and on top of that, so you don't blind yourself. And all we need to do is back probe right here. There you go, nice and bright. Look at that. All right, so we verified we had good powers and grounds. So check that out. All right, so we have good powers and grounds, and we saw the communication line dropping as soon as I disconnected. It basically reestablished itself, and then we hooked it back up again, and then we saw it act up. On that end, I concluded my diagnosis. I'm gonna be calling this the power steering module right here. Let's call them. Let's see what we get. And hopefully by the next clip, we're gonna have a brand new module right here, and then we can switch it up, and then we're gonna do our test and see how everything goes. All right, so good news. We got the green light, and we actually got a brand new Mopar unit right here. So part number is 05154663AC. I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and then after that, we're going to test this, and then we're going to give it a little test drive and see how it goes. After this, we're going to have this on, and everything's going to be A-okay. All right, I was taking stuff apart, and check that out. As soon as I took off the connector, look what came out of that. That's not the drain plug right there, buddy. That is that is just leakage. So honest to God, what's going on right here? Look at that. We gotta clean up this for sure. Look at that. Oh my God. So the power steering fluid made its way up to the internals, and that's shorting out inside. Jeez. All right, let me proceed. I just wanted to show you all this. I know this looks pretty crazy. This is the first time I've ever seen this. So let me get back to it. All right, so we're on day 2. We actually went ahead, replaced a new one. The only issue is I was trying to replace it that night, but it didn't come with that little O-ring on here, so I had to go to a dealership, get that. As well, what I did, I actually flushed the system out, so it has brand new fluid in here. And to do that, basically keep one of these in. So this one is coming from the actual rack and pinion, and this one is coming in from the actual container right here. So we fill that up, let that fill up, and then from there it goes through the whole system. It doesn't go into the actual pump, and then it pushes out all the dirty fluid from the rack and pinion on out. So once we start getting nice clean fluid, that's when we close it back up and then retest it. So right now I've done that. I haven't checked out the scope. I got the scope hooked up over there. So the main thing right now, we're just going to verify how this looks. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put the key on position. We have the scope leads hooked up, and let's see what we get. So let's set this up and see what we find out. All right, so let's turn this on. Let's see what we get. Here it goes. All right, we're just gonna stop somewhere right here and let's see what we find right here. And she's looking pretty good. So now the main thing that we're gonna do next, we're actually gonna go inside the vehicle and we're gonna see how the cluster looks, and then we're gonna see if the performance on the steering, make sure everything's okay. Like I said, we just filled it up, so it might be a little stiff in the beginning, but after that it should be nice and loose. So we have a good reading right here on our scope. After that, we're gonna go inside the vehicle and we're gonna check this out. All right, so we're inside the vehicle right now, and remember, in the beginning of the video, the cluster would flicker when we had the key off. Right now, as you can see, nothing's on, but it will kind of flicker in and out. All right, so this is a good news right here. Let's see. Right now, I just hit the brakes, so kind of woke something up right now. And we still have our Pico right outside. So let's turn this on. All right. All right, check that out right there. So that's working, and this cluster looks pretty good. And like I said, all because we had this electric power steering pump right here. And as you saw right there, as soon as we took out the connector, fluid started coming out. I'm pretty sure that pump is completely saturated inside and all the electronics. Do I want to open it up? Yes, I do, but they have a core charge on that one, so I'm just gonna let it go right there. I'm already gonna send it off. You know, they want their money on that, and I want to make sure that the customer is not charged on this. I feel confident now, just by talking right now. If you've been looking at the cluster, it hasn't been acting up. I feel good. I'm gonna go take this out in the extensive test drive, make sure that the customer is okay with that, and then we're gonna call it, you know, a fix right here. So if everything goes well, I'm gonna be posting up this video. But if you do like this video, please put a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that little notification bell to get our brand new videos coming out from Miles Mechanics. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Man, it's finally getting cold here in Houston. Y'all take care. Y'all have a nice day. Goodbye.